This triple loop model really reflects the depth and the impact of the community anchored approach in the Reschool Design Lab. I want to take just a few minutes to break down the different components of this triple loop and also explain how they are interdependent of each other. You're going to see this visual throughout Design Lab, so I hope you find this helpful. First thing I want to point out is that there's two different sides to the triple loop, an awareness side and an action side. I'll start by talking about the listening loop, which is really the core of this community anchored approach. And it's specifically talking about the listening that's going on to the people who you'd like to learn from and who you're collaborating with. Now, I find it most helpful to jump from that listening loop over to the awareness side, because it's important to recognize that how you as an individual are coming into those listening conversations, how your team, group, community is coming into those conversations will impact how that listening session, that listening experience goes. It's also highlighting here that you'll come out, you as an individual, as a community, will come out of listening sessions with reflections on things that you've learned, but that's not it. You'll also likely be reflecting on how that experience has influenced your values, the community or group's values, and your belief systems. Now, kind of pulling back on this awareness side a little bit more, that listening also kind of positions you in thinking about how you are and where you show up in the system, your community, your group, your team shows up in the system, what kind of power, resources that you have to shift systems based on what you're hearing, and also maybe how that system is or is not responding to what you're hearing. Over here on the action side, once you've done that listening, which can be a really messy process, a lot can come out of it, we have this design loop. And that is where Reschool uses its future state design process, which is a way for you to start to strategize and organize what you heard into a plan and something to try. It's where co-designing happens with everybody that's in the community, including those that you are collaborating with and listening and learning from. And again, it's where you'll try things no matter how small. After that, you'll figure out whether you need to do more listening, change your strategy. You'll be paying attention to what's going on this awareness side, and you can evolve in different ways. It might be that you need to go back and do some more listening, that you are going to tweak the design or the strategy or who you're working with a little bit. This is the space, this evolve loop is also a space where you might find that an idea that bubbled up here in these loops is not something worth pursuing, and that it's time to put that away and do something else. And that's okay too. I think the last thing I'll point out is that if and when ideas do bubble up here in the listening and design loops that continue to have great value for whoever you're listening to and collaborating with, you'll continue to evolve and iterate. And in this process, that idea will get to a point where you can put a plan around it and it can have systemic impact. The last thing that I will point out here is this big blue tension line that comes down the middle. And obviously this intersection is where all of these loops come together. And you can imagine, and this is just recognizing that in this process, there will be tension between individual and those in the community, the system and what you're hearing, maybe what you're hearing and where you're at. There's all sorts of ways to look at that. So with that introduction, there's the triple loop.